Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. That's right, we're back for a Thursday edition of the show. We appreciate you all being flexible with us. As tonight is the NFL draft, and we're coming to you live while the draft is going on. I'm Larry Caution, joined as I am each and every week by co-host Calvin Thomas, Justin B.A. the Barber Harris. Gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight?
Feeling real Nintendo 64ish.
Look, man, I'm on. I'm out of my normal studio, as you can tell. The technology has not been my friend. So, folks, if I drop off, if I'm lagging, don't worry. Justin and Calvin will carry us on in.
Your
Calvin
voice
has
sounds clear though.
that's you know what I mean. That's the good part. But yeah, I'm recording inside of a different studio, so you see my virtual background for prosperity. But on other note, I've been enjoying my vacation. Have a tan, as you can tell, and unfortunately, the light isn't the best, but we're going to do our best. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight is the NFL draft, and we're going to be talking about that in depth. Let's kick it off right off the bat. Right now, there's been some big picks so far in this draft, and a lot of people had speculation on what will happen with some of the top picks, including the biggest name that a lot of people were wondering about is Shador Sanders. Would he go in the first round? Will he fall all the way to Pittsburgh? A lot of people were saying that, once Cleveland traded, because if you haven't known, Cleveland traded that number 2 pick down to number 5, got a number 1 this year, of course, by swapping picks, and then a number 1 next year, in addition to other compensation. But they didn't take a quarterback. They went out and got a defensive lineman to go along with, which I thought was a pretty decent defense already last year. So it's kind of a head scratcher, in my opinion. But they felt like pairing someone else with Myles Garrett, after paying Myles Garrett all of that money, was the best move to make. So Cleveland went heavy on defense. You saw Cam Ward go number 1 overall, which was he was projected to the Tennessee Titans. But the big pick, the Jaguars jumped from 5 to 2 and went out there and they wanted to get Hunter, and they went and got Travis Hunter at number 2. The question is, will Trevor Lawrence be able to utilize him as a big time receiver offensively, or will they predominantly put him at DB? That will be telling. The Giants got Abdul Carter, which was projected. Everyone was assuming he would be the heir apparent to the late great Walter, Lawrence Taylor, the next LT in New York. So we'll see if that pans out. Another Michael Parsons, as people have been saying. So a lot of interesting moves. The Patriots went and got them a left tackle to protect their quarterback. So interesting moves thus far in this draft. Calvin, what have you thought about what you've seen so far out of the 2025 NFL draft first round?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I think the Cleveland trade is good for them, especially if you don't like a quarterback, especially if you like next year's quarterback, including Arch Manning. You can have a chance to go get him. From Jacksonville's perspective, they got what they think is the best player on the board. I think a lot of people think the best player on the board was not a quarterback. It was Travis Hunter, and they went and got him. The Giants with Abdul Carter makes me think, is there a Kevin Thibodeau trade going to happen tonight? I know the Ravens speculated to possibly being a runner for his services, so that's something else that we got to watch, because I don't think they're going to. They already have, I believe it's Burns from Carolina, so I don't think they have a need for Thibodeau, so he may be moved sometime today or tomorrow. I know that the asking price seemed to be a late day 2 or a late 3rd round, early day 3, early 4th round pick. Like you said, the Patriots get a tackle to protect Drake May, and they start their rebuild in the why am I blanking on the guy's name that's the new coach right now? As projected, the Raiders take Ashton
Mike
Gentry.
Yeah.
They take Gentry, best running back in the draft. I think he's probably going to be. You can say he's probably a top 10 running back walking to the league. That may be a little disrespectful to some teams right now and their running backs. But what you saw Saquon and Derrick Henry do last year, the Raiders hope that Gentry could do that. There was some projections about them going to get Cam Ward and have him kind of slide in behind Geno. But as to that point, up until I think the Panthers pick, when they picked the wide receiver, it was kind of chalk. And now we're kind of see what's going to happen. I project a lot of trades late. to possibly get Shador, to possibly get the quarterback from Ole Miss, to possibly even get the quarterback from Alabama. So I think some late round trades can be in because you get that 50th option in the first round, which you don't get in the second round. So you kind of want to get a quarterback in the first round, pick those quarterback teams, maybe a Cleveland, maybe a New York Giants. Maybe they try to trade in late to get a quarterback at Jets. So if you're late in that first round, maybe 20 after, maybe a deal comes calling. But right now, I think we're basically going chalk.
Yeah. What you think, Justin? What you seen so far in this draft?
Well, I actually love some moves that's being made right now. I love the fact that Ashton Gentry went to the Raiders. I love the pairing with Geno and Ashton Gentry, and then you still got Brock Bowers, which is like all-world tight end. So his intermediate game is going to be 100%, pretty much like either throw it to him or you throw it to the backfield. Like this is great for Geno. So shout out to Pete Carroll, who's going to hit the ground running, which for those Raiders fans, I love it. I am interested in T-Mac, McMillan. He definitely went to he was pretty much scouted to be the best. He went to Carolina, the best wide receiver out this whole crop. I think this is going to be one of the years where you look back and say, that third, fourth, fifth receiver taken could be a little bit better. A lot of these receivers are just a little bit more hungry than T-Mac. I hate the fact that his name is T-Mac, but it is what it is. So it's just a lot of movement. But yes, of course, everyone is wondering where is Shador. I think he's getting roasted right now. Not necessarily like a beer roast or nothing like that. I think he's getting a short end of the stick right now because a lot of the draft results was the fact that he was just too confident and too cocky. Like you want your quarterback to be that. Like you don't want your quarterback just to be a walkover. This man is, and just he has lineage in his last name. And I think his last name is being assaulted right now. He should not be dropping. There's no way that a number 2 pick just drops like that.
Great. 100%. So we're going to continue to keep our eye on the draft is ongoing. Shador's out of the top 10 as we had 10 picks. We are 10 picks in. So we'll see. A lot of people projected him to drop all the way to maybe possibly 21 to Pittsburgh. That'll be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what the Cowboys do at number 12. I'm very interested in seeing what the Falcons do at 15 because we've seen what they've done over the last few years going out and get a Penix Jr. They still have Kirk Cousins. It's going to be very interesting to see who they pair if they decide to go defense. They paid a cornerback. So I'm very interested. Did they go pass rush? I'm very interested in the Falcons. Another team that I'm keeping my eye on is Cincinnati. We saw what they did offensively. Who's the big defensive splash player they think they can go get? Will they try to make a trade with the Giants? Will they try to, go get some playmakers to automatically try to beef up that offense because they put so much beef up that defense because they put so much into that offense? It'll be interesting to keep a track of that. And then also, look, you go out and you are the Miami Dolphins, a team that has spent a lot of money offensively on Tyreek Hill, guys that they have the weapons offensively. They have guys like Bradley Chubb on defense. You need an offensive line to protect your quarterback. We know the injury history with Tua. So will there be another tackle available? We're going to keep an eye on that as well. So a lot of stuff. The mocks really have been all up and down. I'm interested in seeing who really, because look, pretty much Cam Ward was projected number 1, Travis Hunter 2, Abdul Carter 3, Will Campbell. It's pretty much gone down the line. I don't think there's been any reaches thus far, even though Gentry is interested in going a little higher than projected, but I don't think that's much of a stretch. It should be fun to track how this thing rolls out as the night goes on, and you gentlemen will make sure we stay on top of that. Let's get into the NBA playoffs. A lot has been happening over the last week. Playoffs started last weekend. OKC Thunder up to a 2-0 start over the Memphis Grizzlies as expected. The Cleveland Cavaliers 2-0 against the Miami Heat. The Pacers have dominated the Bucks in the first 2 games of that series. The Boston Celtics, even without Jason Tatum in game 2, up 2-0 on Orlando Magic, even though the Magic played tough in game 2, I thought. But again, without Tatum, it's hard to really judge that. But here we go. The Knicks, Pistons playing tonight. What's the score on that game? Justin, you got the score?
It is 95-87 Knicks.
There we go. So still close, but how much time left?
10 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
And then the Rockets got a big victory last night over the Golden State Warriors. So, gentlemen, take it away. Let's go game by game breakdown. I'll be right back, gentlemen. I gotta reset this router, and I'll be back as soon as possible. Talk to us about the game tonight.
And whenever you want to, Justin, we can go back to the draft because they like in the middle of the first round. But of course, all these teams got quarterbacks, so Shador gonna fall even further unless somebody trade up for him. I did want to mention that.
I think that's the next splash. So when Shador gets picked, we can hop back over.
Got you. I did before we go to the draft. I did want to say, what do you want your Bucks to do in the draft? Because I did want to talk about your Bucks real quick.
Cornerback, secondary depth. That's all I really need. Yeah,
Okay.
You know, we're in a position where as though we got a lot of talent, especially offensively, defensively. We got a lot of young talent that's starting to hit the corner. So the secondary is definitely a need for us.
Got you. Yeah, I'm expecting some trades late. I think we just hit 11 with the 49ers, but like 11 through 20, they all have quarterbacks basically. Every team.
I really thought he was going to go to the Saints. I really thought that was a nice little spot for him before the Avalanche, which is about to happen.
Got you. It started getting, the more I watched, like getting closer to tonight, it started to turn off in New Orleans for Shador. You know, I'm a big proponent of someone trading back in that last 7 to 8 slots to get Shador and possibly Milton and I keep forgetting the guy's name from Ole Miss. So I think it's going to be a lot of trade opportunities because I'm a proponent. If like I've said this to a couple of my friends, if the Giants can call on the Ravens and say we'll give you next year's one, give us this one and a 4 or 5 because we want to go get Shador, I'll do that. I want that one next year, especially with that cap situation and how they have, you got Hamilton, you got Olway, you got Linderbaum, you still have to possibly pay. So if you pick that, if you can sign one and then maybe get them a little bit more money that's allocated to that first round draft pick, I'm okay with that. You kick the can down the road and all of a sudden you got a top 10, 15 draft pick in the draft with 5 quarterbacks, and now you got more power to move to wheel and deal.
It's always good to stay flexible, but to be as flexible as you can in these situations.
Yeah,
learn from Philadelphia.
Yes, that's what I'm really looking forward towards. Want to see how many trades are done. Like, does Hendrickson from Cincinnati get traded tonight? I know he was rumored to go to the Lions. Would they try to get another draft pick to try to get young on defense, try to save a little bit of money since they just signed both of their receivers? So we'll keep an eye on the draft. But we were talking about basketball, but I did want to go back to your Bucks real quick. I don't want you to say I'm a hater.
No. Now, if we would have went smooth past 19, then yes, I would have said something.
I got you. But getting back to these NBA playoffs, Oklahoma City Thunder and Memphis Grizzlies. Look,
did you expect something different?
I expected Memphis to put up a challenge. I did expect Memphis to put up more of a challenge. I thought with Bane, with Ja, with Triple J, I'm not saying they would win, but I expected it to go maybe 5 or 6. And when you have, I think Shea had 15 game one and they lost by 50. That just told me everything I need to know about Memphis and Oklahoma City. At that point, I was ready for just Oklahoma City to go to the next round because I didn't need to see that series anymore. I expected more of a fight from Ja. I'm not even sure who's going to be there next year. I know it's too early to talk about, but if you lose by 50,
it's looking.
I don't know. I don't have the trade packages ready yet. You give me till end of the playoffs, I put something together, but that was just embarrassing to have. Even though they're the 8th seed, I did not expect you guys to lose by 50. And Shea is what I think was 1 of 9 at one point, and they were still up 30.
Yeah, they just got completely ran out. And I was watching this when I was spending time in Texas, and I was like, "Yo, like you got outscored by 15 in each of the first 2 quarters. Like you know how bad of a slow start that you have to do to start the game, to start the first half, in each quarter minus 15. Like that, you're just not trying and you're not caring, and it's just." They're going to go as far as their leader take him. And unfortunately, he's immature. He's still maturing, I should say. So once that avalanche happened, they was done. They're just out there for, it's and giggles at this point.
Let me ask you this question. Does that type of game, does that hurt Shea's MVP chances when he has a bad game and they still win by 50, in your opinion?
If it was another, if it was another
the vote was already done.
If it was another opponent, yes.
Okay.
This is a playing team at the end of the day.
If
you put in that perspective,
okay,
there's a playing team.
I mean, I don't like to do that what ifs. I just think it shows how much better he made, how deep that team is, but how much better he also makes his teammates, and how he still garners attention when he's not playing well. So that's how I look at it. I don't
Mhm.
think it should hurt
You know,
his.
and the playoffs is about coaching as well too.
Yeah,
Once the coach dial up a great scheme, you just chalk it up and go to the next game at this point.
yeah,
So it is what it is.
yeah. I think we spent way too much time talking about that Memphis Grizzlies team already.
Sure.
Going to that 4-5 match of the Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. This
Man,
is a
this is
match.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Look, playoff Kawhi when healthy, it's got to be.
97 Jordan.
I was going to say he's top 5 all-time playoff performers when he's healthy. And if you can, and he doesn't have to play a back-to-back. He gets 2 days off when they travel, and he's I'm not saying he's guaranteed to be healthy, but he's guaranteed to be at his healthiest point based off how they load measure him during the season. That is a dangerous matchup, and just shows how the lack of talent that has been around Jokic for whatever reason that this doesn't step up. Michael Porter Jr. last year, he averaged 8 rebounds a game. I don't think he had a rebound in game. I think it was game 1. Why is he not being as aggressive? Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook. Like, this is the talent around Jokic, and this is the talent that has not come to play consecutive back-to-back games. They could have lost game 1, and I
should have
think
lost game 1.
Between Kawhi and James Harden, who's been playing phenomenally these first 2 games, I like the Clippers to win this matchup, and I think they present a difficult challenge for Oklahoma City. What you think?
Well, for first and foremost, I did call the Clippers to win the series only for the
I think
strength.
I did too. I thought I did too.
I believe so. For the strength of the fact that you can't change the head coach and expect to pay dividends in the playoffs. That's too much. It's as late as they did. Let's get that out the way. If it wasn't for Russell Westbrook, vintage throwback performance in game 1, they lose that game. There is some issues behind the scenes. I truly believe that Michael Porter Jr. wants out. I don't think he likes to. I think he wants things given to him, and I don't think he wants to fight for anything. And I can't. That's his prerogative. I'm not going to knock that. That's the way he want to rock out. That's the way he want to rock out. But I think he's having issues. I think other players on that team was having issues. Like, you don't fire the coach without having issues, as late as they did without having locker room issues.
Yeah.
So, with you having locker room issues and you have some pressure put upon you, 9 times out of 10 you fold. And I don't think Jokic is good enough when you have a healthy Kawhi, when you have a determined James Harden, and Powell is just lighting up from downtown. Like, they're focused. Ty Lue got them boys ready to play, and it should. I say it goes 6, but it might go 5.
Yeah, I think Denver wins 1 more, so I got to go in 6. But I just think the combination of Kawhi and Harden is just too much for Jokic, especially when he doesn't have the shooting around him. And like you said, Michael Porter just seems uninterested. I don't know if that's because of the attention that Jokic has got over the year. He's just tired of that. Jamal Murray, in my opinion, still has not played at pre-ACL injury Jamal Murray, and he's just been dragging around. Jokic's has been dragging him around. So look, I had the Clippers as well. I think it's going to be done in 6. I'm just surprised at how well this Clippers team is playing, how deep they are, and Zubac, who was just playing phenomenal, and it may be. I don't think this is a stretch, but he's probably the 3rd best center in the playoffs right now, behind Cat and Jokic. So when you have something like that and you have that weapon and you can actually throw it to him and he can get a bucket instead of just getting off putbacks, that says a lot. And that's another option the Clippers have.
3rd best is a stretch, but I all right, okay.
I forgot about Bam.
Bam is could be there. KP, Porzingis.
I guess he does play center.
Love for that. Some people might go with Miles Turner. Some people might go with
they have 2
Jared Allen. So I mean, it's tough. I'm not knocking what you're saying. It's arguable. That whole group is arguable. Who's the 3rd best? Shout out to Bam, but yeah, I can understand that. I can get with that.
Right. So going to this 3-6 matchup with the Lakers in Minnesota. I'm gonna save my Lakers rant for later, so let me know what you see. But
okay,
I got my opinion about game 1.
I think game 1 they got punked. And game 2, they put up a fight. I don't know how long they have. Minnesota. I said Lakers in 6, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought you
So
said 7, but okay.
okay. I still think that's the case. I just think it's going to be tough. I think it's not going to be a cakewalk by any means. So Anthony Edwards is coming to play. The way
Yeah.
that he defended Rudy Gobert says a lot to me when he got the fine. I'm not going to say what else he said, but he was talking about their financial wages, amongst other things. And I was like, okay, he understands Rudy Gobert. He's not frustrated or angry with him or anything like that. If Julius Randle can play level-headed basketball, in which he cannot, they will win the series, and that's the problem. He can go in the stretches where he looks like an all-pro, and then he can go in the stretch where it's like, yo, you just need to have a sit. Luckily, they got Naz Reid to back that up, but it's the Lakers are in trouble. I'll say that it's not an ideal matchup for them. For someone as thirsty as the Minnesota Timberwolves are.
Look, I don't know if Minnesota can duplicate what they did on Saturday, shooting 50% from the three, shooting 50% from the field. I think Tuesday they shot, 25% from three and about 40% from the field, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they could duplicate those. I'm sorry, they shot 38% from the field, so they're even less. I don't know if they could duplicate those numbers that they did in game 1 consistently. And when they do that, they win. We saw them struggle to score on Tuesday night. The three-pointer was not falling. I think they had on Saturday, they had 3 people shoot 60% or better from 3. And then they had another 2 or 3 individuals that made 2 out of there, and they shot 40%. They were just on 5 from 3. I don't think they can maintain that. I'm not saying it's going to be a tough series, but they were just hot on Saturday night for whatever reason. It was Anthony Edwards, it was Naz Reid, it was DiVincenzo, it was Alexander Walker. All of those guys were just hot on Saturday. I don't think that they can duplicate that. Now, can that happen at home when you get in front of that home crowd? Yes and no, because role players play better at home, but it's also a chance for those role players to get a little bit nervous because of the expectation that follow. If you have a chance to be the best player on the court at any point in time, then you have to take that. And I think that's what happens with Luka and LeBron. They were outclassed game 1 early to start, and then they came back and were able to just get that victory in game 2. I have no doubt they'll be able to win this series. I just think it's going to be a little bit longer than I really suspected. I said 5 originally. It may be 6 at this point. So I'm going to say Lakers in 6 because I do think Minnesota gets one at home. But ultimately, I think LeBron and Luka are just too much for Anthony Edwards and whoever the number 2 is, whether it be Alexander Walker, whether it be Naz Reid, or it be Julius Randle, whoever the number 2 is. I just think they're not enough to take over the Lakers. So I still got the Lakers in 6. I'm off my Lakers in 5 projection. Got to be one more game. Going to the Rockets in the Warriors series, we just saw the Rockets even the series up last night, partially due to the injury to Jimmy Butler with that bruised tailbone that caused him to only play, 8 minutes. So I think that's an interesting, that's something we had to monitor. He had an MRI today, hadn't seen the results, so don't know if he's going to play. And if there's no number 2 to Steph Curry, Golden State's in trouble. And I think that's what's going to happen. Golden State is in trouble if there is no Jimmy Butler. We need Jimmy to be healthy. They need another scoring option. And there was a time in last night's game in which there was no Steph Curry. However, you also had no Jimmy Butler on the court, and they struggled to score. And I think that's something that's going to come play a part because you can't have try to play Steph Curry 48 minutes in order to win this ball game. And his team only scored 94 points in that ball game. In addition, you had the breakout game from Jalen Green. You had the physicality in that ball game. You had Draymond. You had Sengun stepping up. You had the defense on Steph as well. So this is going to be a tough series, especially if there's no Jimmy Butler. And I had Golden State win the series in 6. But with no Jimmy Butler, you got to rethink that.
I want to tell you I knew what happened, but I do not know.
You don't know what
happened. See, that's why I was talking bad about the Lakers, and then LeBron, came through with his juju.
You got that power. Yeah. I had moved on to the Rockets and Golden State, just kind of rehashing what happened last night.
Did you say that that I was going to be right from this series, that the Rockets was going to beat Golden State? Did you say that?
I said there's no Jimmy Butler, then the Rockets win. So I haven't.
So
he had an MRI today.
So by default, I win. Right. That's why I predicted that. Right. Thank you. Yep. So that's what I was saying. That the Rockets is just a better team than the Golden State because they just, they're a little bit hungry, a little bit more defensive minded, willing to play tough ball. So you got a whole team that's full of Draymond Greens versus one Draymond Green. The other team wins. The other team is going to prevail. So, Jimmy Butler or not, I can talk as much ish as I want because Jimmy's going to be hobbled for the rest of the season, for the rest of the series. So, that's even better. So, shout out to the Thompson boy for stumbling onto Jimmy Butler.
He was pushed.
He was pushed by a few guys.
He was pushed. I'll give him that.
So it is what it is. Jalen Green straight destroyed them in game 2. I think he was a little bit shy of the moments for game 1, just like Cade Cunningham, which we're going to talk about. Same draft class as well. So once he got his bearings together, once he got he got his ish together, next thing you know, he go off and he can't be stopped. So I don't expect a sweep, moving forward, but yeah, Golden State definitely going to go ahead on and pat their bags, going on back to San Fran.
Yeah, they are in trouble with no Jimmy Butler. So depending on what this MRI says, I think they played 2 games over the weekend. So I'm assuming they play tomorrow and Sunday at worst, because they're going to play 2 games over the weekend. So we'll see. As we go to the Eastern Conference, we'll go back to the NFL draft. They are on pick 15. Don't know Shador. One thing I have noticed is there have been 2 tight ends taken off the board. So I think this lessens the likelihood of a Mark Andrews trade as we go along. But, there are Chicago and I believe Indianapolis both took tight ends. Both were rumored to be Mark Andrews possible location. So if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan or Mark Andrews fan, it looks like he may be staying in Baltimore as the draft goes on.
That's good for y'all, man.
I don't think so.
What?
I want Isaiah Likely. He needs all the touches. He needs to be on the field with the offense 80, 90% of the plays. So that's not what I want. That's just me. But moving to the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers are up 2-0 on the Miami Heat. This is another 1-8 matchup. This is another matchup I think we could talk about pretty quickly. Cleveland is the better team. Donovan Mitchell. And shout out to Evan Mobley, who I believe was voted Defensive Player of the Year today.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Shout out to Evan Mobley.
I always forgot to bring him up last week.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the main center points for that Cleveland team. I mean, you got him being Defensive Player of the Year, and then you have Jared Allen and the rest of the boys playing high-level defense. As much as you can play, I don't count the guard play. They try, but Cleveland's just gonna. It should be a 4-0. If they don't, then they party too hard in Miami. I'm gonna just chuck it as that.
Yeah, look, we ain't gonna spend too much time on this one. Cleveland's the better team. This is the better matchup. They're just trying to get to. They're just trying to stay on pace with Indiana, so they don't give their team any more rest than they truly need. So Cleveland 4-0, they're the better team. I think we all agree with that.
All right. So did we talk about the Clippers and Denver series already?
Yeah. You want to go back to it? Go ahead. But we already.
That's going down tonight, so that's going to be interesting. Who y'all got in Game 3?
Oh, Clippers. I like the Kawhi. We were talking about Kawhi healthy, top 5 playoff performer easily. So no back-to-backs. You get 2 days off when you go from city to city. Kawhi healthy, and Kawhi got rest. So yeah.
Any updates on Jimmy Butler?
I know he had an MRI. We were just talking about it, but they hadn't released the results. But
he ain't broken.
No,
we don't know how healthy he's going to be.
No, Jimmy Butler. I don't see Golden State winning. They couldn't score when either him or Steph were on the court last night. So they need one and one court at all times. And Jimmy's hampered.
So let's project this thing out. This LA Timberwolves series. Y'all think it's going 7, 6?
I got 6. They're gonna win at home.
I'm gonna stay with Lakers in 6.
Okay. So do you think that Houston showed that they can beat Golden State with this whole court situation? What you think?
You tell me Jimmy's not healthy, I'm taking the Rockets. But if you tell me Jimmy misses Game 3 and then he's 80% the rest of the series, I'll take a Golden State.
Because of the first round of Cleveland and Miami was pretty much so easily predicted. We kind of swept by that. So we just got finished talking about the Rockets and the Golden State. And
Okay.
I was just basically putting it out there that I was going for the Rockets with or without Butler.
Mhm.
So, Butler just makes it easy, but I just think that some teams are rugged in your face, and some teams just don't want to deal with that. They got a whole
Mhm.
team full of Draymond Greens versus one.
Okay.
I take my odds.
All right, let's check back in on the draft real quick because
So
Chicago took
just peeked in.
Colston Loveland, man, and that tight end out of Michigan. We saw what he did 2 years ago when this team was in contention for a national title. I think that's a big pick. Tyler Warren going to the Colts. I really think that'll help them. I think that's exactly what they've been missing. A guy in the middle to help take some pressure off the young quarterback. I think we all know the best friend of a young quarterback is a good tight end, and I think that's a huge pickup in Indianapolis. What y'all think about that?
What is his comp? His NFL comp is the person that helped Cam Newton along his way. His NFL comp is Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen.
So if we're
Brown
projecting,
Bowles. I mean,
a
lot of
he's
people
not.
said
He's
that.
not. I don't think he's as explosive as Brock is. I think he's a little just a shade or two under that. So that means if you're a little bit slower, then I'll say, like you say, I'll go with the Greg Olsen. But either way, somebody catch the ball.
Mhm.
A big target to catch the ball. So Anthony don't have to do everything, or he thinks that he has to do everything, or try to do everything. You need to
Mhm.
make the game as simple as possible for Anthony Richardson, and I hate that fact that I had to say that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, we've just talked like it's 2 tight ends taken, so does that mean Andrews is staying? Because the 2 teams that took tight ends were also rumored to Andrews. So
Yeah, I don't think
that's
Andrew's going nowhere unless he posts June cut, and if the Ravens really, I mean, it's not like you need to
there will
go
be
get another
signs.
tight end.
Yeah, there will be signs that
you
they
got a
decided to
tight
do
end
that.
in house if you're gonna. It's not like you need to go, get somebody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, we'll continue to check in as the night goes on. Let's move on. WrestleMania took place this past weekend, and we had to do a check-in on what happened last weekend in Las Vegas. 2-night extravaganza.
Let's take it back. Let's take it back to basketball. We ain't finished there yet.
We got like 3 more rounds. Three more
I thought y'all
series.
was done.
No.
No, we got 3 more series.
Hey man, that's why it's hard when I'm on the road. I can't do this. I gotta be.
No. You good.
All right, what was the next game up?
Pacers Bucks.
Pacers
Bucks. Yeah.
Oh, that's depressing. Look, Giannis has been phenomenal. I think he's played the best he can. We saw Kyle Kuzma put up 0-0-0-0-0 stat line in game 1. Game 2, he had 12 points. Thanks
Kyle Kuzma.
Thanks for contributing 12
Hey man,
points.
I was a Kyle Kuzma supporter until I
Yes,
saw that
you were.
game 1 stat. I said, "Oh Lord, oh."
Yeah, Tony Snell.
How do I defend this?
At least Middleton stepped his game up in the playoffs. Anyway, Dame toughed it out, came back in game 2, but you could tell he wasn't 100%. It might take him a game or 2 to get his sea legs underneath him. Calvin, what's your thoughts on this series?
Yeah, Indiana in 4. Giannis doesn't have enough help.
Damn.
Giannis does not have enough help. Giannis is trying to do everything, and it's just not enough. And you got Tyrese Halliburton barking at you. Dame, it's just time. You lost a step. It's cool. We need to start talking about it. I know he's committed to Milwaukee. Giannis, if you want to get another ring, if you want to get to another conference finals, it may be time to turn on and embrace the dark side. Get out of Milwaukee. I'm just saying. Until then, you won't be in this purgatory when you're not better than the Knicks or the Cleveland or Boston or Indiana. This is just what it is. Pacers in 4. It's a wrap.
Damn. Justin?
I'm gonna see what happens when we go to Milwaukee. Look, some cliches work. In this situation, all Indiana did was prove that they can home serve a little bit for the first 2 games. You get Dame another game back under his flow. I mean, he was 4 for 13, and it was a close game. So if he cleans that up just a little bit more, we're going to see how Indiana could do in a close scoring situation. So I don't think it's over at all. I still got Bucks in probably Bucks in 6 or 7. I no
You
doubt.
got them winning. You got them winning 4 out of 5.
Yes, they once they get
bro.
going. I mean, we talk about Giannis. Giannis is still hands down the best player in this series.
Giannis has scored 30 the last 2 times.
Right, but he didn't have help. What I'm saying is, I am predicting that Dame gets better. I'm not saying Dame's not going to go 25% again. I don't think he's going to go 25%. They ain't got defensive stoppers like that for Dame to go 25%. Dame, his own injury caused him to go 25%, and he just got to get his wind and his legs back. So hopefully he can get that back by game 3. But it ain't over. Ain't no damn sweep.
Yeah, y'all know I'm a Giannis guy, but look, Bobby Porter's hell of a performance in game 1. I thought he chipped in well in game 2 as well. But again, if you expecting Kyle Kuzma to be the additional piece that was going to help put this team over the hump, you're fooling yourself from the jump. But I will say, if Dame can get healthy, and I don't know what healthy for him is with that particular injury, illness, whatever that he is facing. Is it something that he could really bounce back from this season? Was a blood clot in his calf or whatever like that?
Calf,
yeah. So like, is that just a treatment thing, or does it require surgery?
He basically didn't play basketball for 6 weeks.
That's what I mean. Like,
so
rest.
To me, it's condition. He got to get his win back. So
yeah.
Him going out there was enough for me. I said, okay, bet. Now you know how to adjust. You still a veteran. Let's see how Dame is game 3.
Yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I wasn't that crazy about the team with Dame all year. You know what I mean? But again, Indiana, I don't think they're that good. Tyrese Halliburton was ranked the most overrated player by his peers this season, which is crazy to me. I mean, I think he's good. I don't think he's overrated. But again, the Pacers are healthy. They were playing at home. They should have won game 1, 2. You know what I mean? I don't think the score should have been as lopsided as was in game 1. But with Dame back, that thing should turn around. What's next, fellas?
Knicks Pistons. You want to let our resident Knicks? I'll let you start with the ladies. You want me to start with the Knicks? I'll cede most of my time to you. Look, the Knicks are the better team. Detroit had a good game in New York, which surprised me. I thought they would win one at home and not on the road. Tobias Harris is so up and down. He gave you a good game on the road. He gave you nothing tonight. New York's going to go up 2-1. I think this is a series in which New York needs to close out as fast as possible. Don't play any extra games, especially when you see Boston possibly sweeping this series. Get it done. Stay on track so you don't have to exert any extra energy playing 40 minutes a night to beat Detroit. You're going to need all that plus 8 minutes to beat Boston. I still like the Knicks. I think they get it done in 5.
Okay, so this was the issue. I said Knicks in 7, and I was I stood by that. And game 2 showed itself, and this is my issue with game 2. Yes, they bounced back. Yes, they got to win. It's 15 seconds left. They're going to win tonight. Yeah. They up by 6. Jalen Brunson sometimes has a Kobe-esque mindset, like a young Kobe mindset. He plays hero ball a little bit too much. And when he plays hero ball with a team like we have, that means Cat's not going to get his touches as much as he should. And Cat is one of the best finishers in the NBA. Not necessarily dunking or nothing like that, but when the ball gets in his hands, he can put it in the basket. When Cat has 10 points in a whole playoff game, that's a problem. From coaching to Jalen Brunson, because he's the starting point guard. They got to fix that. Tonight, Karl Anthony Towns, 31 points. Thank you very much for listening to everybody stating the obvious. You have to get him involved. Jalen Brunson, please give me 10 assists. If you're getting 5 to 7 assists a game, that means I know that you're playing hero ball. That means you're trying to score 37 a night. I don't need you scoring 37 a night. You try to score 37 a night, we're going to lose. And that's exactly what happened. So right now he had 28 and 9 and 7 rebounds. That's a perfect game. Below 30, high assists. Karl Anthony Towns is leading the game in scoring. If I get that stat line every day, I think we're going to pretty much win 3 straight. So, we'll see.
I don't know, man. I just don't know. The score is right now 116 and 113, 5.8. We know this game is wrapped up, but that's a tough, good win on the road. But you had Mikal Bridges 39 minutes, OG 43, Carl Anthony Towns 41, Jalen Brunson 39, Josh Hart 41. This team, and we've talked about this in the past, burnout is real. How can they hold up if they play? It took 41 minutes on par from most of your players, which all put up numbers. Don't get me wrong. You got 20, 22, 31, 28. Josh Hart, he a 10-point scorer here and there, but he give you the rebounds and assists. And that barely squeaks out a victory over Detroit. This Detroit team is dangerous. And they had an off night shooting. I think this is going a lot longer than that projection from you all too. I think this could go 7, to be honest with you. I could see the next game, they're knotting this back up 2-2, and it'd be a 3-game series at that point. I just think that Detroit has an edge to them. We saw it get scrappy in the first half, get pitched. There's going to be a fight. There's going to be a toss or two. Somebody's getting suspended. I think this series is going to be extended, and this reminds me of old school Eastern Conference basketball. But 41 minutes on average for your top starting 5 is not good, in my opinion. That's kind of rough, and it won't be sustainable throughout the playoff run. So they need to watch that. But that's tips for you. Any other games we haven't covered thus far?
Just Boston, Orlando, but Orlando doesn't have enough, in my opinion. Even with no JT last night, Boston was still able to get the victory. Look, I got Boston winning. I got Boston sweeping. I don't even think they need JT. They can let him rest that wrist injury. I think, in my opinion, this is a sneaky good Booker team if he gets traded in Orlando. That's what they need, in my opinion. You can add him to a Wagner and a Paolo, and you can be a top 2 or 3 team in the East, and you're not giving up too much defensively, in my opinion. I'm not saying Booker gets traded. I'm just saying if they do, and it's not Houston, this is a sneaky team to get Booker services. But Boston, this matchup, Boston in 4.
Justin?
I think you're giving this team a little bit too much credit. As in Boston, I think that Brown is not the same Brown as he was. He's still recovering, as much as he probably would not say that.
Was that game in any doubt in your opinion last night?
Did they blow him out?
No, they didn't. They won by I think 8, but it wasn't in any doubt in my opinion that they were going to win.
Okay, so if you tell me that he sits out, he's out. So now you don't even have the game plan for him anymore. So, like I said, the playoffs is about coaching and adjustments. I'm adjusting to not having to worry about Jason Tatum again.
Okay,
that changes the whole aspect of how you play basketball now. I have to worry about Drew Holiday now. I have to worry about Jaylen Brown that's still recovering, in my opinion. I have to worry about KP. Guess what? Those 3 options are still better than having to worry about Jason Tatum on top of everything. So, that definitely brought Boston closer to Orlando. I got Orlando winning 1 or 2 games at home at least.
You said 2. That's a lot.
I don't see that. I just think Boston is one of those teams where they, fortunately for them, they don't have a number 1 option that you just be like, oh, if we shut this guy down, they can't do this. Like Drew Holiday can have a night. Fucking Pritchard, can have a night. Like anything. Like this team is just deep. Any given night, somebody could just be like, this is my time. I'm taking it. And Jaylen Brown was aggressive last night. I thought he played well. And then don't sleep on light-skinned vanilla chocolate over that guy. That man.
Derek White, yo.
Derek White.
This nigga said
vanilla chocolate.
Yo,
wait, what are we doing?
Yo, they ran a lineup out there last night where they had 4 white guys on the court and Derek White. I was like, what is this? The 19. What year Celtics team am I watching? Like they had Porzingis can go off on you. They just got so many weapons that I just
they do have a plethora of weapons. I
just don't see it being that difficult,
including vanilla chocolate.
Yeah, that's what they call them, man. Anyway, they say, "Bridge, please." What they say?
Is there somebody laughing in the background?
Yeah.
They laughing at the fact that you said vanilla chocolate. I just want you to understand
like
that.
come into the room and they're
Vanilla
listening to the
chocolate,
show.
and then you put that on
Anyway.
this damn show.
That's what they
Thank
said, man. So anyway, I see Boston clearly moving on. So anyway, we'll continue to monitor the games. Kind of pissed off where I'm at. They don't have NBA TV, so I can't watch the Denver Clippers game tonight. So I'm going to watch it on my phone. But that very unfortunate. How could you not have NBA TV in a resort? It's kind of crazy. Anyway, but that game, that's the series I'm most looking forward to, man. That to me, that's exciting basketball, and for betting purposes, the most fun. But fun stuff with them. Man, there's a lot of options. Russ continues to be a head scratcher. Good Russ is great. Bad Russ, I mean, how many open jumpers can you miss? How many bunnies can you miss?
He hit him game one.
Not game two.
You're right.
Not game two.
You're right.
Yeah. How many bunnies can you miss? I just, Lord, man, y'all be putting the ball right on him. I'm like, bro, that is not the guy.
Stop passing the ball.
Stop passing him the ball.
Take it yourself.
Jesus Christ, man.
I got you 40 tonight, Jokic. Take every shot you got.
Y'all could have had a triple-double, like by far a triple-double. And I had him on my parlay to get over that. And Russ missed about 5 shots that would have gave him a triple-double. Just pathetic. Anyway, let's move on. Again, folks, draft is going on. We're trying to keep you abreast. Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Mississippi, went to the Cardinals. Jalen Walker from Georgia, that's a big pick.
Went to
that's a big pick. I said that because remember, I want a linebacker for the Ravens. And he was one of the guys that I earmarked as I want a good linebacker to pair with Roquan. Jalen Walker was one of those guys. I didn't think he would fall that far.
Yeah.
But there's a couple more linebackers. I don't know if the Ravens will actually take a linebacker, but I think that's what we need. And for pass rushers there, that would be great as well. I haven't asked you, Calvin, what do you project the Ravens taking with this pick?
So I think it's definitely defense. I think they wanted a defensive end, someone to rush the passer. That's where I'm going. But the good thing for EDC, we're at 19 and it's still, 17 and it's still no Shedeur. It's still possibly 2 quarterbacks and 3 receivers are going to go ahead. So you're going to have your pick of who you want. You want the safety from, I believe it's from Georgia. You want a rush on the pass. You got your pick, especially if you're EDC. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, Jalen Walker was somebody I really was coveting. I thought he would fall.
So you're out on Trenton Simpson then?
I was never in on Trenton Simpson.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a project. He wasn't no guy.
Cincinnati took an edge too. So does that mean Hendrickson is gone?
I thought they never agreed to pay him no money. So
correct.
I thought he was already gone. Basically,
no. He has 1 year left. He has 1 year left.
Well, didn't he say he was going to hold out or something like that?
I didn't see that. I know there was like talk of like Detroit trading for him and possibly sending there 1, but I didn't see any talk about him holding out unless he didn't go to minicamp. That's what you mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see. We got to talk about WrestleMania. And I know sometimes wrestling is an afterthought, but it was a big weekend for the WWE. A lot happened in Vegas. I wish I was there in many ways, but I had a great weekend. Despite that, night 1 of WrestleMania results were Jey Uso defeated Gunther to become the world heavyweight champion representing Raw. Match was kind of so-so in my opinion, but the shocker for me was that Jey tapped out Gunther.
Yeah,
with the chokehold.
Completely agree.
Like a little sleeper, and Gunther tapped quick. I didn't like the finish. I have to be honest. I thought he should have just beat him with the splash. You could build the rematch. I love what they did on Raw with the attack on Pat McAfee and on Michael Cole. I thought that built a little heat for Gunther to get his heat back. So that was good. But I love the visual of Jey hosting the title, crowd eating. That's all well and great. I just didn't like the quick tap by Gunther. What was your thoughts on that, Calvin?
I agree. I definitely didn't like the finish. I would have loved for him to just kind of beat his ass and kind of get some, some type of retaliation for his brother. I didn't like the tap. I didn't expect it, and I didn't like it either.
And
like you said, it was so quick. Yeah, it was so quick too. Like he got it locked in and he tapped so quick. I mean, I
It
think
make
we
you
all. I think
suspend your belief too much for me.
Yeah, I think we all agreed that Jay was going to win. I don't think anyone would have said it was going to be a tap. If you would have told me he got help from outside from his brother or something, I think that would have been a more appropriate ending. Something that makes you think that he can't beat Gunther, but he needed help, and then he's got to eventually kind of climb the mountain 1-on-1. But just having him tap makes kind of Gunther, take a couple steps back, in my opinion. Didn't really like the finish.
What's your thoughts, Justin?
Gunther's a bully until the bully gets punched in his mouth, and then most bullies kind of cower away. What you guys are saying is kind of what you want, right? So you're saying like I didn't see that coming. Well,
I didn't want it right away.
But that's the point of wrestling. The point of wrestling is to shock you in a sense, right? To be a surprise. And when you see your brother gets destroyed like that, the one thing you want to do is try to humiliate your opponent, the person that caused it. He did that by putting his own finisher hold on him. So I think that's within the realm of sports. I think that's within the realm of retaliation. You have people that do other people's finishes all the time, and this is one of the times where it worked. And I think it was a nice spot for it. He did the splash, he did the spear, he did all that like twice. It was one thing left to do, and that's to do what he did. I hope he actually comes up with a whole new.
That's what I would have liked. That's what I would have liked.
I think if he takes this and then has a submission move from that, then that will make him much viable as a champion because he doesn't have a finisher. He doesn't have a submission finisher.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been saying forever. If you think about some of the greatest wrestlers, aside
all of them have it. All of them have
it. Something. Yeah, but of the modern age, you have to have a signature submission move of some sort that builds heat where the fans think, oh, it's the guy going to tap. That is the heat. The wanting the tap and it doesn't come, then you get it in later and then they finally tap, or you get it in the first time they get to the ropes. That builds the heat. For him to just lock it in and Gunther to tap right away, it takes away the luster off of Gunther. Given the fact that we watched Gunther be unbeatable for the better part of 3 years as the United States champion, and Intercontinental champion, and then his World Heavyweight champion, and then Jay just locks in one little sleeper and he's done. We've seen this man take move after move from everybody. So that's why I say it kind of, to me, came off a little weak. And it hurts my believability for somebody like, who's going to wrestle him next. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't have done it. As far as the rest of the matches, we're not going to run down every match. But, Calvin, what was a highlight match for you from Saturday night's event that you would like to talk about?
Oh, easily Rollins, Punk, and Reigns. Best match of the night. I love the Heyman angle. I know. Besides that match, I'll say probably Jacob versus LA Knight. I'm happy Jake. I didn't expect Solo to not get involved initially when he kind of came out with Jacob. I don't know what the plan was for Solo. I've heard a couple different things that there was no plan for him in general for WrestleMania, but I'm happy he's finally getting that individual shine away from the bloodline. And I just wonder what's next for Fatu. He's a phenomenal wrestler. He's a real person. When you saw him on he was on Jeff Teague podcast, 520 podcast. So he had a great interview on there. Go check that out. But yeah, that outside of the main event for Saturday night, I'll say Fatu versus LA Knight.
I agree with you 100%. And I love that finish where he did the 3 moonsaults, right? And it just pinned him clean in the middle. And the crowd went crazy. I think that guy's a star. I've been watching him since MLW. I really think they should do something with him. Justin, what's your thoughts?
All right, so that's gone, and we're going to talk about the last match. So the only other match that I think the New Day match, I didn't like that one. I'm glad they won. Didn't like it.
The crowd was big.
Yeah.
Right. So Tiffany Stratton, all right, good job. But no, really,
it was better. It was better than I thought it was going to be. It was better than I thought.
The match it was.
Shout out to El Grande. But I think for me, I wanted to see Jade Cargill on this stage. I wanted to see her on a one-on-one matchup. I didn't want to see Naomi get buried at the same time too. So she actually did put up a hell of a fight, and it was actually an entertaining matchup. So I guess the spotlight, other than Jey Uso, other than the main event, to me was Jade Cargill, and just the fact that she proved that she can hold her own. So now that you can actually book her moving forward, going against other singles competition.
Yeah. I thought the injury to Ray was unfortunate, but I didn't like putting Ray Phoenix in there as a replacement for him to lose. If you were going to have someone go out there and lose, you could have picked somebody else. Ray Phoenix is new. He's fresh. He's somebody the fans get behind. It was going to build to a rematch, fine, but I just didn't think he should have lost that match. Been put in that position just to lose to El Grande on a WrestleMania stage. You could have picked somebody else for that. But let's get to the main event, which we all like. If you really were paying attention, you saw this coming. You saw Steph would be joining Heyman, but I thought it was still extremely well done. Heyman was sensational. Heyman was absolutely sensational. The guy deserves awards for his performance. And Seth, man, Seth is a hell of a performer, man. I don't care what nobody say. If you watch that match on Saturday, Seth was the glue. Seth kept that match together. That thing could have fell apart many times. But, man, that buckle bomb he did, oh, my God, man. Like, Seth is just phenomenal, and he's just a great performer. And I think when we look back years from now, the generation who's watching, they're going to think of him like we think of Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart. Yeah. You know what I mean? From
that
just
performer, that showstopper.
He's just a great performer. And on big stages, he comes through, man. I give him all the credit in the world. I like the creativity of the finish. And then the follow-up on Raw with Braun Breaker joining him. Sensational. Sensational.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done. Go ahead.
That was one of the most pause-worthiest scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. When Paul Heyman did that low blow and then
he kind of moved it.
I said, "Oh no, we are done. I don't care how this thing ends at this point." He did that and stuck it and then jiggled. I said, "Oh no!"
I said, "Jiggle."
We're not doing this.
You can't use that word, bro.
That's what he did. That's what he did. It was egregious. I'm trying to paint for a picture of how egregious it was. Man. You know, it took a while to get past that. And then next thing I know, once I got to my senses, like, yo, did that just happen? And the match was over. So, you know, I get it, right? No, it was a great match. I was telling a couple other his, especially from the other part that I'm about to do. It's like the problem that I have is sometimes you have epic matches. And I think that match was of epic proportions. It was a great, like you said, Seth held everything together. So it was a nice flow throughout the entire match. Sometimes, just like the Bret Hart and the Austin, like they're starting to award matches for being in the Hall of Fame now. And that's a dope move. When you have this Heyman aspect to it, like I get it. It makes sense. I'm not saying that it doesn't. It took away from the match itself, so now it won't go down as one of the best matches of all time because of how it ended, right? So that's my only problem with it. It would have been, you don't have three iconic wrestlers like that when everyone can take chances or take breaks to chant their name, right? It wasn't like a boo this guy. It's just all right. You're done hyping your guy. Okay, I'm gonna hype my guy. Okay, I'm done. Then you're gonna hype your guy. It was that kind of a superstar trio, and then it ended the way it ended. Great ending, but I think that it could have been just a little bit better for the match itself to end with one winner.
I can see that, but I thought what they did and the story to me, and for me, I'm a story guy. I love wrestling. I watch a lot of wrestling, but because I watch so much wrestling, there's only so much great matches you can kind of consume and be like, "Oh, it was a great match." The story is what brings me back. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought that was a hell of a story. And it made me wonder what's going to happen next. And then they followed up on it on Raw. That's why I put it together. Like, the combination of things makes me want to watch more. And that's why I love wrestling. What's your thoughts, Calvin?
Look, I think the Heyman aspect just added to the match because I think the three of us agreed he was leaving with Rollins. It was just a matter of how it was going to happen. And to play it up with CM Punk, and to play it up and see the cheerfulness, the glee on Roman Reigns' face, thinking that he has his wise man back, and then for that forearm to shake about 3-4 times back and forth or whatever. It was a build up to it, and then just to have Rollins stand there and do the look away and wait for him to place the chair in his hand. Perfect cinema, perfect camera work. I love that match. Heyman added to that match, in my opinion. The build up to what's going to happen over the next couple months, in my opinion, can be great with just these 4 individuals, and including Braun Breaker as well. So I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah. All right, night 2 took place on Sunday, and interesting. I'll let you all start. What was a match that stuck out to you that you felt like, wow, that was a hell of a? And I'm going to be full disclosure. I did not watch this entire show. I'm on vacation, so I did not see every match. I saw the main event. I saw the opener.
We're
and
going to talk about that.
I saw excerpts of. I saw what happened with Randy Orton and Joe Hendry.
Mhm.
But to be honest with you, I didn't get a chance to watch the rest of the matches. So tell me what stuck out to you other than those first 2 matches. I mean, the first and the last match.
Okay. Other than the first and the last match, those that don't know, I'm a huge Joe Hendry fan. I'm put it out there. My kids, they get sick of me because I sing the theme song all the damn time. Yes, I put it. If they was down here, I'll put them on the screen right now just to vouch for it, because we don't really talk about the affiliation that he's with and all that. So the fact that I saw him in a Rumble, I was hyped, right, when the music came on. Now, mind you, I'm in Texas. I'm at a cookout right now. I'm barbecuing right now, right? And they have Randy Orton. I was like, okay, I still don't know who his opponent is, and didn't say his name. I said, oh, nobody got my name on that. So I was definitely hyped. As just a personal, as a fan of wrestling itself, it took me back to I definitely had a childlike experience.
Enthusiasm.
The enthusiasm was at definitely a throwback high. And for him to go out there, and you saw Randy. Randy was listening to the crowd. Like, everyone knows his music, so he was like, okay, he is somebody. He is somebody.
He was handpicked by Randy too. So
yeah.
So even better, and losing to an RKO, he has nothing to be ashamed of. When he did it again, that's just an initiation. And then
it's
for
like
Randy to do his finish, his taunt, and then finish off with the joint in whatever with his own taunt. Great moment for me. Besides that, I know we're gonna get into the other ones, but I know you didn't see them all. The Logan Paul joint, besides that one springboard thing that he did, which he covered like the whole entire ring, Logan Paul did.
Yeah,
that match was
nice.
The match was so. The Becky Lynch, it was good to see her. I'll say that.
Good. It was unnecessary though.
You could tell they gave her moment, so then she can do what she did the next night, right?
Yeah.
So she had her comeback moment, that feeling and all that. Are you going to mention Dominic? Is that your match?
That's my match. You can go ahead with that. That's my match. You can go ahead. That's my match. Yeah.
When I say that all 4 of these dudes put on,
yes,
they did a great job.
I'll
say most of it for Cal. And when I say that street fight, that was one of the most one-sided street fights I've ever seen. Drew McIntyre straight kicked his ass from pretty much from start to finish.
Wow, really?
I was like, yo, like, is Drew ever going to, like, is Damon going to, he had, like, in a match like this, it's like 5 highlights, like somebody getting smashed into the tables or something like that. Out of the 5, 1 of them was from Damon.
Was Damien, yeah.
4 was all Drew. I was like, yo, that's crazy. So
one-sided.
I don't know what they're gonna do with them two. I think they should have did better. Like I said, for Damon, they damn near buried him. I don't like that. So I'm a fall back, but that 4-way and my man Dom.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
yeah. I will say y'all drafted a wide receiver. Tampa drafted a wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go into the talks, because that wasn't on the draft board at all. Yeah, he is one of the better receivers. I took a look at him already. To me, he might be the best receiver out this.
I was gonna say, I think he's the best one. I was gonna say that.
Yeah. But
maybe it was best case. Maybe it was best play on the board. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. They're gonna say that, but there was no besides Travis Hunter. The other 2 cornerbacks, their names escape me right now. They are legit regular cornerbacks that you want to have, that should be number 1 in their own right, but Travis Hunter can do both, so he's far and way better than them. That's not necessarily he's not the best quote unquote cornerback. He's in a league with those guys. So I thought that we should have went that route. We got Mike Evans, we got Chris Godwin, we got Jay McMillan from last year that actually was putting on as a rookie.
Yeah.
All right, now you add him. I'm like, all right, we definitely overloaded the offense, but the defense still needs some help. So I'm gonna have to go onto the blogs. I'm gonna have to do some research to see what's going on. But hey, man, more the merrier, man. Shout out to Baker, baby.
All right, back to Sunday, right? I will say the Dominic Braun Breaker, the 4-way was the second best matchup on Sunday. Easily the second best matchup. I'm so happy that they allowed Dominic to do. They're going to allow this singles version of Dominic we get to see going forward. The match from start to finish, and we all agree there was no. We thought there was no wrong way to go with who wins that matchup. But to see Dom actually win, it was a point in time where I was thinking that they were going to go back to Braun Breaker, but I see they had bigger things in store for him, which I'm happy for as well.
Sure, they had bigger things in store for Braun Breaker.
Just to see Dom in that matchup from beginning to end, to see the singles reign he's going to go on. I want to see where this story leads, but this was easily the second best matchup on Sunday, in my opinion. It's a match that I've gone back and watched twice already. This was a great. If I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, I was just hoping that it could live up to the anyone could win hype.
And to just to follow up, Dom was walking off, and then the cameraman told him to go back because he was too over.
He was
So that's how much the crowd was feeling.
Wow.
He did a Jey Uso. He was halfway up the ramp, and the cameraman was like, "No, you got to go back, dog." So he went back.
I believe it was the student who just said, "Hey, we got to get back here."
It was definitely a cameraman. It was in front of him.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a moment where everyone was like, it was like the confirmation of, yeah, y'all finally did Dom justice here.
Yeah, gave him his rights. Okay. So I did see the opener with Io defeating Bianca and Rhea.
Best match of the night.
And we talked about this. We said
best match of the night.
Everybody's expecting Bianca, Rhea. That's going to be a big time match that possibly saved for the all women's pay-per-view later this summer. So I think over the next month or two, one of them women will be Io for the title. But it was a shocking ending. A lot of people didn't see it coming.
It was a great ending.
Yeah, hell of an ending.
Am I the only one upset that Bianca ate the pin?
Go ahead, Larry.
I think it explains or gives you further out because she's turning heel. Typically, they don't mind heels losing because then they can get that heat back because she can talk. She can, do what she got to do with dirty tactics, maybe attack Io, things of that nature. I don't think so. I think Rhea, in their mind, is the bigger star, so you protect the bigger star. But again, as us as black men, of course we want Bianca not to eat that pin. It just makes the most sense.
So my thoughts on that is, one, she didn't lose the title, right? Rhea is technically is the one that lost the title, right?
Correct.
Pretty much fair and square. Secondly was
she got
the way that pin happened. I was like, yo, that was a great finish.
The sequence
one move
to
another move, and then she just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So it's like
she got caught.
I get it, right? It's not even like you lost that, like you got caught in the wrong place. So it was spectacular.
Phenomenal match. Phenomenal. All three women deserve hats off.
Correct.
A lot of people have been praising Io, saying that she deserved to be there. She deserved the title. And if you've been following her, she did deserve a world title a run, worthy of not just being a placeholder throughout the year. And then when Mania season comes, you get rid of her and give it to the big dogs. Io is a legit badass, and Triple H loves her ever since back at NXT. And it's a good look for diversity for us from the Japanese perspective because WWE has not had the best history of pushing Japanese talent, and they recruit so many of them. You have a champion like Io, that's a good sign to other women, like, look, other men, hey, we're going to treat you right if you come here. So it's a lot of reasons. Let's talk about that trash main event. I thought this main event was absolutely pathetic. Just terribly wrestled. I didn't like the finish. I didn't like nothing about this match. What was your thoughts, Calvin?
don't know if seeing what happened at the end of WrestleMania 40 so many times that you expected more from just interference perspective from the match, and that's what you were hoping would help it live up to the hype. Because we all knew Cena was going to. Well, we all thought Cena was going to win. It was a strong possibility he was going to win, but I just expected more. I didn't expect to see Travis Scott be the only person to come down and to assist John Cena and win this matchup. I didn't believe that we're just going to have this golden boy Cody who wants to play it straight by the books. It was so lackluster. It was, and maybe that's what he wanted to just to kind of cement this heel turn that he's on. But it did nothing for me. It was a terrible way to end WrestleMania. I hate this tour that The Rock is on to try to explain why he wasn't there, to explain why this, and we know, the real story. This is you sticking to Triple H at the end of the day, so we know what it is. And because he didn't go with your idea, now you're sticking it to him, and now you're trying to say you really need me. So I hated this. We'll see what happens with him and Randy. I appreciate that storyline one more time, but we're just going to see. We're just going to be on this Cena farewell world tour for the next 6 months, and now I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, two things. One, I'm looking forward towards the Randy Orton angle in this.
You think he beats him in his one and done, it's just over.
I don't mind them going back and forth a few times. To be honest, that's just me personally. Because Randy is the person that I think.
If that's the case, Randy got beat in my opinion.
I think it should. To me, he should be the one that is all said and done the 18-time champion. It should be Randy. He's the one that stayed WWE throughout his entire career, had his ups, had his downs, never left, never went to Hollywood. He tried, didn't work. So he stayed around. And he's the only person out that draft class that kind of deserved it to me. But that's neither here nor there. This match itself, I hate what it did for Cody. I hate that Cody had to take 4 attitude adjustments in order to win, in order to lose. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that if he come back and say it took you 3 to 4 of them to beat me, I'm still that guy. I don't even want to hear that rhetoric from Cody. I'm glad he lost. He should have lost. He should have lost after he did a super AA off the top rope. Wow. That should have been it right there. So it is what it is. It wasn't.
Well, look, we got to pick the Steelers. Made that selection. And they did not take Shedeur Sanders. Wow.
This is a travesty. That's
wow. Crazy. So now the next team needs a quarterback. I don't even know when that is. Somebody trading back in. Trading back in.
Wow, man.
Somebody's trading back in.
Wow, man. Because let's look at the next several teams that's drafting. The Chargers don't need a quarterback. Right? We can all agree. They got Herbert.
Green Bay,
no.
Minnesota.
Jesus. Well,
you think Minnesota not going to take him?
No, they got McCarthy.
Yeah. I was going to say they got McCarthy.
Keep going. Let me look at my draft board. Let's go back up. Pardon me, folks. You see how this is built. Minnesota. The Texans don't need a quarterback. The Rams, maybe. No, they just paid Stafford all that money.
They just paid Stafford, unless you want to have him sit for 2 years.
Lamar don't need no Shedeur as a backup.
Detroit, you got Jaden, Josh Allen. Somebody got to trade back in.
Jalen Hurts. Damn.
Somebody got to make a good offer to trade back in, because at this point,
I mean, Cleveland does have a number one that they got in the trade back.
Yeah, but that number one. I don't know if I'm giving up that number one. It's Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's going to be not in the top 5 in the draft, maybe top 10 to 12. So, and like I said,
who's willing to trade back of these teams? Possibly.
I've said I want the Ravens.
At that point, you do like the Ravens did at 31 or 32, trade back in, offer the Chiefs at number one.
I've said I want the Ravens to do it. I want the Ravens to do it. You get a number one for next year, go ahead and take it.
I agree with Calvin. I think either Giants know that they sitting behind Cleveland for the number one spot in round 2. So you chance him going there.
There's New Orleans too. Who needs a quarterback?
You gotta jump. So I think the Giants make that move.
Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. We just talked about them.
But they passed that 21. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I mean, must really think Aaron Rodgers is coming.
They should have took him.
Yeah, but like you say, Packers, Vikings, Texans, Rams, Ravens. I mean, none of these people need a quarterback.
But the problem is, like you said, when you get back to the second round, you're starting over with Tennessee, with Cleveland, so all of them take a quarterback. So now you're trying to beat them.
Yeah. So I would jump to if you're the Browns, since you got the draft capital, you're not going to trade with the Ravens in the division.
The problem is you don't know who's trying to trade up with them as well. Because like if the Giants are trying to trade with the Ravens, then you got to move up ahead of them. So
it got to be a loaded team. It had to be like a Detroit or at 28, possibly. As far as the Eagles at 32, the Eagles they don't need no quarterback. They draft well. Oh man, that's crazy to me. But who could have saw this coming? I don't know. Interesting. Let's get back to Mania before we wrap this up. Main event was terrible, like I said. Not being to cut you off, Justin. That was just big news that.
No, that was pretty much wrapped up.
I just think what's next for Cody?
Cody has to possibly take a little time off.
He's definitely gonna take a break.
He's supposed to be a SmackDown tomorrow, though.
You can give a speech or something like that, but you need to take some time off. Possibly get into a feud with somebody who can rehab him a little bit. Yeah, maybe Drew McIntyre or something like that. Work his way back up. I think that'll be a good fresh feud. We've never seen Drew and Cody. I think also it'll be interesting to see what this whole regime with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker do. Because in theory, you win that match, you should be the #1 contender for some title. We already know Orton is with Cena. Is Seth going with Jey Uso? You know what I mean? We saw Sami Zayn come out and celebrate with Jey on Raw. Everybody thought he was going to turn on him. You know what I mean? The way the camera was just on him for so long. But maybe they use him as the second to Jey and him and Jimmy and maybe Seth. But you still got Punk. You still got Roman. You know, Roman not going to be around for so much. So Roman might get his revenge at like SummerSlam or something. Punk, he's there more often than that. So we'll probably get Seth and Punk in some type of feud continuing, which we've seen over the last, 2 years, basically. So I don't know. That's the intriguing part. You have to tune in. But again, I'm going to watch the rest of this card, and I'll have more to say in the future, especially following up with Raw and SmackDown. So interesting weekend. Before we get out of here, I know I used this slide last week, but it still remains true. What the hell is wrong with the Baltimore Orioles? Calvin.
They never got enough pitching there. They were relying on 3 injured pitchers, so they're pitchers. So they're hoping that that gets better. And the offense has been terrible. You can't have bad pitching and bad offense. When you give up 24 runs on a Sunday,
that was
and then you give up 9 runs the neck on Tuesday, so you lose 33-2 over the course of two games. Your offense is pathetic, and you don't have the pitching. And you have a closer. I love Batista. I'm glad he's back, but you have a closer that can't go back-to-back nights yet. So you get a lead one night, you bring him in, he closed the game. The next night, it's bullpen by committee. And if you don't hit, then all of a sudden you're in a tight matchup when you don't have your closer if need be. So it's a lot of issues. Now, granted, I want to see the youngsters up here now, because if you're going to lose this season, let's get the youngsters some experience and get them ready. Why is Mayo still down there? Why is Basillo still down there? Let's get these guys up here. Why is Jorge Mateo in center field? Why is he still in this ball club? Why do you have these young players who you scared to put in lefty matchups against a left-hander? And that's when you get beat, because you have no hitting for left-handed pitchers, and you're scared to put these youngsters in there. This also shows how much you miss Cowser in the field as well, because now you got Mullins playing every night. So it's just a ton of options. Hopefully they stay afloat long enough to get healthy, to get some of these pitchers back, and to make a move that potentially puts them in a wild card race, even though the division isn't running away with them right now. So that's all I got.
What's your thoughts, Justin?
Man, it's Calvin mentioned that our development system. We were scouted to have one of the best development systems. You can't just keep holding your head on that part alone. You have to do something with it. Either you bring those guys up, but we got plenty of young talent that's playing now. So unfortunately, they're gonna have to just eat it, get veteran help. They could have got 2 to 3 pitchers, man, for the talent that they had in their bullpen, for in their development system. Get some real pitching in, and then now we can have some good matchups going forward. You don't do that. You strike out on Burns. You let one of your best hitters go. He laughed at the contract. It's it's not looking positive right now. Brandon Hyde might have he should have coached his last game on that 28-2 joint. He should have managed. He should have managed his last game. That 20 that blowout should have been it for me. That is them giving up. I think they gave up. And
you gotta move. You gotta move quick. Mm-hmm.
Got to do it fast, or else we're going to be in for a tough season.
Yep. 100% agree. And I said that. Of course, I've been watching very closely because it's my first time back in a while. So I'm like, okay, examining. Why is this guy a good manager? Like what adjustments has he made? His lineups are iffy. I like I said, Calvin, if you're gonna, you got to play these guys. See what you got. You know what I mean? It's still early enough in the season where you might can turn this thing around. Somebody get hot. We know how that goes. But, man, the arm, some of the times when he pulls his pitches is off as well. Like, sometimes he leave him in too long. Sometimes he pull him too quick. Like, bro, pick a lane. Like, pick a struggle. Which one is it? Like, are we going to just, like, go down? Like, okay, last year, the last couple of years, they've been long ball hitters, clearly. Like, the home run been there. We clearly don't have that pop this year. So now you have to manufacture runs. But I have not seen those adjustments, the squeeze bunts, like advancing guys. I've seen a guy get thrown out trying to steal second. Like, not steal second to third. What was that? The other day. I'm like, bruh, and you sent them. I saw it. Like, with my own 2 eyes. Like, bruh, like I'm sorry, like you said, I don't know who's available. I'm not familiar enough right now. I need to do some more research, but a change is needed. Sometimes you need to spark, get this thing, right this ship before it falls off the rails. And after that embarrassment, where you let a team put up 24 runs on you, got to be some changes. Anyway, we'll continue to monitor the situation. Still Orioles season. I'm still a fan. I ain't going nowhere. That's through the good times and the bad times. But it has been some tough times to start the season at Camden Yards. Calvin, any final thoughts before we get out of here? A little earlier tonight than normal.
I'm just interested in this draft. Interested in these. They took a running back. Didn't they just? Okay. And interested in this draft. Interested in the rest of these games. It's another basketball weekend. 4 games each day. I'm excited about that. Day 2 and day 3 of the draft. So it's a full sports weekend. We got baseball. The Yankees come to town for the first time next week, next Tuesday, I think, or next Monday, 1 or 2. But yeah, so we got the first taste of the Yankees down in Camden Yards. So it's a good sports weekend.
Yeah. Justin?
I thought they signed somebody.
No, man. Just stay positive, guys. Stay away from the 20-year-old girls out there. They ain't got nothing to do but go for your money. You know what I'm saying? So
we're not
you just gotta stay positive out here. You know what I'm saying? If you over 30 plus, you don't find yourself with over 30 plus lady, go with yourself.
Stay out the snow. Stay out the snow. That's what I'll tell you.
What if you're over 50? You know what the problem I have is I don't even mean to get too much into this. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna say this. How you do that and you turn down Miss B Nasty?
Did he turn on him?
He ain't
from Nightcap. It sounded like it.
It's clearly stuff we didn't know publicly.
It is true.
Behind the scenes. So who knows?
Mississippi 7 is a strong 7 for him. He's good to go. Mississippi 7 is like a 10 for him.
So that's all I guess, man.
That's all I got. Allegedly.
He cleared his name on some
term
front.
I'm supposed to say. Allegedly.
All right, folks. Well, Shannon, keep your head up.
Let me add this too. Do y'all believe the rumors about Shaq?
What about Shaq?
About him and Shaq beating?
That he had something to do with it.
Yeah.
What you
That's
mean
the
had
rumor
something to
now.
do with it?
That Shaq and Shannon been beefing, and the reason that part of the reason that she allegedly turned down the initial sum of money was because she received advice from someone that Shaq is cool with, allegedly, and that plays a part in it. I just want to keep saying allegedly.
I don't think
But
Shaq would go that far.
But it's also them having beef, which I'm like, I didn't even know they had beef.
Yeah, they had beef. Remember Shaq
they
put
had
out
beef.
a little diss record on him and everything? You don't remember that?
I remember it now
It
that you
was
said
real
it, but
petty and stupid. Everybody
I mean,
why
it
is
never
he going so hard?
went anywhere. That's why I was like, y'all
Shannon
anywhere.
ain't giving no life. Shaq just went super hard for no reason. Anyway.
No, I'm not gonna put his name to that. I heard that rumor too. You know, I'm not gonna do that.
That's crazy. Anyway, we'll continue to keep our thoughts and prayers with these idiots. Man, you see a lot of celebrities going through a lot right now. Kanye West, jeez. But yeah, that's a constant struggle. That guy needs, I don't know. Yeah, so clearly,
clearly he was getting that Paul Heyman.
Good night, all. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We'll be back on our regular day and time. Thank you for joining us. Get it in there.